This is the story of the very first Christmas, when a very special baby was born. You've probably heard of him. He's called Jesus, and he is the Son of God. His mother was Mary, and she was married to Joseph. You've probably heard of them too. Here they are now. You've probably not heard of Grumble, though. Here he is, Grumble the donkey.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
Grumble the donkey was very grumpy and liked nothing better than
Grumble.
He had grumpy ears, a grumpy nose, and grumpy hooves. In fact, he was a whole bundle of grumbles. That day, however, he had much more to grumble about than usual. You see, mighty Caesar, who is so famous you have definitely heard of him, had called for a census, and everyone had to travel to the place of their birth to be counted. For Mary and Joseph, that meant travelling all the way to Bethlehem. It was a really long and difficult journey, especially for Mary, who was about to have a baby. Luckily, they had a donkey. Yes, that's right. Guess who had to carry Mary all the way?
Yours truly.
Not long, Mary.
The journey seemed to go on forever. Grumble rolled his eyes. Joseph had said that 5 times already. Grumble had aching ears, an aching nose, and aching hooves. Finally, they arrived in Bethlehem. Unfortunately, so had everyone else in the land, or at least that's what it felt like. Mary and Joseph were pushed and shoved, trodden on, and barged past. It was enough to make even the cheeriest donkey cross. Grumble, however, was not a cheery donkey.
Mega grumble.
Mary was exhausted. She knew her baby was going to be born soon. They needed to find somewhere to stay as quickly as possible.
Have you got any room?
No way.
Is there any room?
No pity, no pity, no.
Is there any room?
No, no room.
There was one innkeeper who felt sorry for Mary and Joseph. He had no room to spare, but he suddenly had an idea. They could use his stable.
Is there any room?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any room. Wait, I have a stable.
Thank you.
I've just had Wi-Fi put in too.
Thanks.
Grumble didn't like the sound of this. Stables were for animals like him. The last thing he wanted was humans in that nice, quiet stable. And as for a crying baby, well, that sounded like a whole bundle of trouble. He decided to stay outside where he could whinge and moan to himself in peace. Very satisfying.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
That night, in the humble little stable in Bethlehem, the Son of God was born, Jesus, our Saviour. Meanwhile, in the hills above Bethlehem, some shepherds watched over their flock of sheep. You might have heard of them too. The sheep were being very naughty. Being naughty is one of the things that sheep are very good at, along with leaping over fences and knitting.
Bond of mischief. Stand up.
I'm a fluffy bundle of cheese.
And this is from the TV.
I'm a fluffy bundle of naughtiest.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ba, 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 really easy. Dialogue and shit. Ba, 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 really easy. Dialogue and shit. Yes, I do like to dance. Really got to play the dance. Because we're really easy. Really easy. Ba, 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 really easy. Dialogue and shit. Ba, 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 really easy. Dialogue and shit. It's time to go to bed. But we got to do it. We Stop.
It was bedtime, and they really didn't want to go to sleep. Suddenly, there was a bright flash in the sky. The shepherds were terrified and fell to the ground, covering their eyes and wondering what was going to happen.
Don't be scared, shepherds. We don't mean no harm. We got good news for you. Jesus is born tonight.
The angel Gabriel appeared. He was God's messenger and had important news for them.
Jesus, the Son of God. We have good news for you. We have good news for you. Baby Jesus born today. Good news, good news, good news. We have good news for you. We have good news for you. Baby Jesus was born today. Good news, good news, good news. We have good news for you. We have good news for you. Baby Jesus was born today. Good news, good news, good news.
The angel's singing was beautiful, but the shepherds found the whole thing a little bit scary. They desperately wanted to see the newborn king, but they were only humble shepherds.
I'm a bundle of nerves.
Me too.
My hands are shaking.
My toes are trembling.
They decided that they wanted to take a gift to the newborn king, but they were only poor shepherds. What could they possibly give him?
We're just poor shepherds, we don't have to bring. What can we give to you, special new king? But we have bringing everything we got. A little lamb, a little mouse for you. We just poor shepherds, we don't have to bring. What can we give to the special new king? But we don't bring him everything we got. A little lamb, a little mouse to him.
The shepherds went down the hillside into Bethlehem in search of the stable. When they found it, the shepherds were nervous all over again. Grumble the donkey was cross that his snooze had been rudely interrupted. After his long journey, he was tired all over. His ears were tired, his nose was tired, and his hooves were tired. He was still a bundle of grumbles.
Please don't disturb my snooze. Okay, let's go on the count of 3. 1,
2.
2.5.
3.
Travelling across the desert came 3 people who were far from poor and humble. There's a good chance you've heard of them too. They were very wise kings and had been following a star from the east for a long time.
I know lots of stuff.
I know lots of stuff of lots of stuff.
We are very important.
The star the kings were following was very big. They knew that it would lead them all the way to the special baby, the Son of God. The star had stopped outside the stable. Surely the special baby wouldn't be born in a stable. Suddenly, they found themselves full of doubt. And kings, probably because they are very important, are not used to feeling doubtful. Grumble the donkey scowled at this next set of visitors to disturb his snooze.
Ahem, who are you?
Very important kings.
We are very important kings. We learn lots of things. We travel very far from his star, looking for the baby Jesus. We are very important kings. We learn lots of things. We travel very far, driving the stars, looking for the newborn king. We look to the right, we look to the right, we look very high and low. We look to the right, we look to the left, my Jesus, yours best way to go. We are very important kings. We learn lots of things. We travel very far, following the star, looking for the baby Jesus. We are very important kings. We learn lots of things. We travel very far, following the star, looking for the newborn king.
What a grumpy donkey.
What a bundle of grump.
He's grumpy as my reindeer. Shall we not?
To be honest, it's better out here.
The kings looked at each other in confusion. Grumble explained.
Because of the baby.
Babies are allowed. I'm out of here.
Wait, did you say baby?
The kings looked at each other in astonishment. It was most unexpected and yet also rather wonderful. Nobody knew quite what to do. Finally, Grumble had had enough.
That's it.
They couldn't stand outside all evening, he said. Why didn't they all go in together? The stable was peaceful and bathed in the warm glow of love, which came from a tiny little baby snoozing in the manger. In their hearts, they all knew that Jesus was a very special baby. The kings and shepherds suddenly realized that they had no worry or doubt left in their hearts. The kings left gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The shepherds left a lamb. They all gathered round the manger to greet him, all except for one little donkey. Suddenly, Grumble didn't feel quite so grumpy anymore. What was this strange sensation inside him? He tiptoed over to the manger, feeling shy. He peered inside and then gave his biggest, broadest, donkeyiest grin.
Oh, wow.
The baby wasn't a bundle of trouble at all. In fact, he looked like a whole... All his grumbles disappeared. As he looked around, he realized that everybody else felt it too. They felt it in their ears, they felt it in their noses, and they felt it in their hooves. I mean feet. But most of all, they felt it where it really counts, in their hearts. Everyone in that humble little stable was filled to bursting with wonder, love, and joy. And from that day on, Grumble realized the true power of joyfulness, and he never, ever grumbled again. Well, not that much anyway.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. A baby boy, Jesus was of God. Jesus was of joy. A baby boy, Jesus is his name. Jesus was of joy. A baby boy, Jesus is of God. Jesus was of joy. A baby boy, Jesus is his name. The ways are hard to play. The ways are hard to play. To Jesus, Jesus, Jesus the King. The ways are hard to play. The ways are hard to play. To Jesus, Jesus, Jesus the King. Jesus was a joy, a baby boy, precious gift of God. He's a fountain of joy, a baby boy. Jesus is his name.